welcome to the first episode of Honorable Mention. I'm so excited to start this podcast. I've been thinking about it for quite a while, but I'm finally gotten around to doing it, which is really, really cool. I'm a pretty busy person, so I didn't think I would get around to doing it, but I am. If you don't know me from my Tumblr blog, which I guess I don't know, probably maybe all of my audience is coming from there, but if not, if you stumble across this, my name is Abigail. I usually go by Gail. I'm 17. I use she, her, and there's more information about me in my bio. But what's really important is that I am a huge fandom nerd. I absolutely love fandom. I have been in a lot of different fandoms since I started being on the internet since I was a kid. But my main one right now is Dead Poets Society. It's been that way for a couple of years. I've met a lot of really fun people through that fandom, a lot of really sweet and talented people, and my online friends mainly come from that fandom, and it's been really cool to be in that space, especially on Tumblr. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, but I'll tell you more about the podcast itself in a minute. Okay, so I did want to talk a little bit more about the podcast itself. I did choose the name Honorable Mention because, well, let me put it this way. If you've ever been in a competition, you know how someone will get first place, someone will get second place, and someone will get third place. And then you'll have people who get honorable mention. So they didn't win, they weren't the most popular, but they're still important. They didn't place, but they're still important. That's because this podcast will center around topics that aren't discussed as much within their respective fandom spaces, like ships, characters, plot lines, seasons, whatever, episodes, just underrated things in general, because that's where my interests tend to lie. The podcast is semi-scripted. I have like a set of guidelines as of now that I'm kind of following, but not to a T. You know, it's not perfectly scripted out. You're gonna hear me, pause or go back on things that I've said probably, because I do like to have the freeform discussion kind of format that I've seen in some other podcasts that I really like. Like I said before, I am a pretty busy person. I have a lot of stuff that I'm doing with regards to school and the career that I'm pursuing that leaves me with little time. I mean, I have time, but I don't have a whole lot of time to be recording, editing, uploading podcast episodes. So I won't have a consistent upload schedule. If that's something that bothers you, feel free to not keep up with this. But I hope to bring you guys episodes when I'm motivated, when I have time, and when I have something interesting to talk about. Quality over quantity, I hope. And there might be the occasional episode about non-fandom interests of mine, which include the arts, history, language, queer culture, different bands and artists, but it'll mostly be fandom centered. And I'm still deciding whether or not the podcast is going to have captions. Ideally, I would like to caption it to make it accessible for people like me who have auditory processing issues or who are deaf or hard of hearing. But I also don't always have the time to caption a lengthy audio, and I also don't have the money to hire someone. I'm a teen, so I will do the best that I can with regards to that, but no promises as of yet. If you're familiar with my blog, you probably know what fandoms I'm in already. I already mentioned Dead Poets Society. Obviously, that's huge for me. I'm big into it. It's my thing. It's what I mainly post about. And my interests, like, I guess sub-interests within that fandom would be the characters Chris and Ginny. If you don't know who Ginny is, she's a deleted character that appears in the deleted scenes and like 2 of the background shots of the movie. But she's really cool. if you've seen the deleted scenes and if you like to obsess about things that really don't have much canon material to go off of. And also the ship between those two characters, which I like to call Chris Jenny. It's what my blog is named after. It's a big thing that I post about because I really relate to the character Jenny. I relate to both the canon and fanon perspectives of her and traits of hers. I also really like, and I know this is like, do I even have to say this because it's like 99% of the fandom that's into it, but the ship Ander Perry, which is Todd and Neil from the movie. And I also like Mitzi. That's what I call it, but it has a lot of other names. It's Meeks and Pitts from the movie. And I don't know if I don't know if I have to put this out as a disclaimer because it's a bit of a touchy subject in the fandom, but I am a Cameron apologist. I love Richard Cameron. I think nobody in the movie was completely without fault, and I think people villainize him too much, so he might be someone that I talk about as well on this channel. But I know that for sure I want to devote at least a couple episodes to Chris and Ginny and the relationship / friendship between them, and how I relate to it and how I see it and how I like to write it, because it's, to sound like a fandom blogger from 2014, it's my OTP. It's one of my OTPs, my one true pairings. I love it. It's one of my favorite ships. Friendship or relationship does not matter. I love it. They're cute. So yeah, I'll talk about those characters and those ships. I will also probably be addressing at some point, and this has been like tirelessly, and you know, we've been informed by other people who have spotted these issues in the movie, but there are, like, one of my friends who's made posts about it, but there is racism, cultural appropriation, misogyny within the movie, things like that that are very period typical, but I think that are interesting to dissect and also important to dissect and talk about, and not just gloss over as, oh, you know, this is this funny trait of this character. And that's why personally Charlie and Knox are not my favorite, is because those issues are sort of centered around them. Knox with the misogyny and stalking, and Charlie with the cultural appropriation. Both very period typical, but again, like I said, something that I might dissect on this channel. I'm white, so I don't really, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself to have the credentials to really delve super deeply into the racism and cultural appropriation aspect of it, but I do know people who can, and I might cite posts that I've seen by people who have that experience more deeply who have experienced that more than I have. So yeah, if those kinds of things are your thing, if those things that I mentioned are things that you're interested in, come stay. You know, you'll probably enjoy this podcast. Gosh, another one of my favorite fandoms is The Walking Dead. Now that's a fandom where it's like, it's pretty damn popular, right? So there's a lot of video essays on it. There's a lot of talk about The Walking Dead. There's a lot of hype about it. There's a new spin-off coming out this month. So it's something that I don't know if I will devote quite as much time to on this podcast, but there's still topics that I like. There's still ships that I like. There's still episodes that I'm really passionate about. Storylines, seasons. I really love season 1 and season 2. I'm an old school kind of girl with regards to that. I don't like the newer seasons as much, although I did really love season 5 and season 6. I really liked the season 6 mid-season finale. I actually really liked the season 11 finale as well, and I really liked the Daryl Dixon spinoff. But other than that, I'm more of a earlier seasons type of fan. I don't know, just everything about that show is just so it's so special to me. It's such a good show. In some ways, it's not perfect, but it's a really good show. I like it. over the years, I've definitely discovered other really fun shows and movies. I really like Young Royals, third season coming out in March. I'm so excited about that. I really liked I'm Not Okay with This before it got canceled. Same with Harlan Coben's Shelter, which I actually just discovered a month or two ago, and I was so pissed when I found out it had been canceled, right? I essentially just watched it posthumously, just not even knowing. I was like, wow, is there going to be a season 2? My brother's like, no. So that was rough. I really like the movie Stand By Me. I also really like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, two of my favorite movies. Also 80s movies, really, really good. I like Pretty in Pink, another 80s movie. I like Supernatural, the show, the CW show, despite its flaws, despite the fact that it dragged on for 15 seasons. I It's kind of a comfort show, and I watch it with my family a lot. And I really like Stranger Things. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to mention Stranger Things. Stranger Things was my main fandom for a long time. Like, I'm talking, I discovered it in 2018, right? But then I was like, it got me into like Tumblr in 2019 when season 3 came out. It also got me into the It movies because of Finn Wolfhard, of course. And I survived the 4-year wait. No, 3-year wait. 3 years. Yeah, that sounds right. I think that's right. Until between season 3 and season 4, it was rough. But I really loved a lot of people's theories, a lot of people's posts, analysis stuff. Behind the scenes photos really got me through it, and I am joining the bandwagon again for season 5. Even though I have a lot of negative feelings about season 4 in general, I do think that I still am a curious person. I still want to watch season 5. I really like Byler. It's my favorite ship at the show. I have been into Byler since 2019. That's when I just discovered that it was a possibility. And I was like, oh my god, this makes so much more sense than what we've been given in the show. Hello. So yeah, so there are some YouTubers on here, and there's some Tumblr bloggers that I admire. And although I don't really participate in the fandom as actively as I used to during the wait for season 4, it still holds a special place in my heart, and I'm going to probably talk about it at some point. Probably mainly Byler stuff, but I also really like Lucas and Max, especially in season 4. I feel like that was the thing that was handled well in season 4 was Lucas and Max's storylines, like, and their relationship. I thought it was really interesting, and yeah, so Stranger Things. And I think aside from that, that's about it. Unless I want to I could just talk about My Little Pony too, but I have people telling me I'm childish for being into that. But I might talk about that too at some point. Who knows? Anyways, I think that's about it for the introductory episode. I'm still getting comfortable talking in a podcast. Like, I've tried and failed a couple times to do YouTuber stuff, but it's just been really hard for me to do commentary. So to do something that's completely commentary is a little bit daunting, but I really want to make it work. So if this has been an awkward listen, I apologize, because it's kind of my first real foray into this, putting a lot of effort and thought into it. But I hope that nonetheless it speaks to you and to my dear mutuals, followers, and friends. I am grateful to you for encouraging me to start this podcast, and I hope that you are listening along, and I hope that you enjoy, and I hope it's all that I advertised it to be. So, anyways, see you in the next episode, which will probably be something about Dead Poets Society. Bye. Thank you.